Hello guys, welcome back to HackPy. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through something super practical, setting up a full CI/CD pipeline on AWS to deploy a React app to an S3 bucket, step by step. Whether you're a beginner just starting with AWS or you're trying to automate your front-end deployments, this is going to help you understand not just how, but also why each step matters. We'll start by understanding IAM, the core of AWS security. Then we'll move into creating policies, groups, users, and finally set up our automated deployment pipeline using CodePipeline and CodeBuild. Let's get started.
Here's what we're building. We'll start with a simple React app. When you push changes to GitHub, AWS CodePipeline will pick it up, build it using CodeBuild, and deploy it directly to an S3 bucket configured for static hosting. It's fast, clean, and fully automated. First things first, let's create your AWS Free Tier account. Just head to AWS page and sign up. You'll need to add your email, a password, and credit card info, but don't worry, most of the services we'll use are totally free if you stay within limits.
Now let's create an AWS budget step by step, so you never get caught off guard by surprise cloud bills. Setting a budget in AWS is crucial, especially if you're running labs, learning cloud, or working on side projects. This simple setup can save you thousands, or at least some heartache. First, log into your AWS console. In the top search bar, type budgets, and select the one under the billing and cost management section. You can choose it by going to your profile as well. This is where you'll create and manage all your budgets. Click Create Budget, and we'll go with Cost Budget, which lets you track how much money you're spending, and click Next to proceed. Give your budget a name, like Production Alert. Choose a period, monthly is common, and set a fixed or recurring amount, like 20 hours or Cumprol 3000. This is your spending cap. You can narrow the budget by linked account, region, or service. This is helpful if you only want to monitor specific areas like EC2, S3, or Lambda. Now, set notification thresholds. For example, get alerted when usage hits 50, 80, or 100%. Add your email address or multiple addresses to receive the alerts. You can also send alerts to SNS topics if you want automation. Double check everything and click Create Budget. That's it. You'll now be notified if your AWS usage gets close to your limit. This is one of the easiest and most effective ways to protect your wallet. Even with the free tier, one misconfigured service can drain your account. Budget alerts give you a safety net. If you're using AWS for learning, hacking, or production, set a budget today. This is step one in becoming a responsible cloud user. As you can see here, I have my React application ready for deployment. This is the landing page for my CyberSense Threat Intelligence tool, a SaaS project I'm currently working on. I'll upload a separate video to walk you through the tool itself, but for now, let's focus on how we can deploy this application. First, I'm going to create a new repository on my GitHub account. Once that's done, we'll push our local code to the new repository. Now, as you can see, the code has been successfully uploaded to GitHub. Now, let's move on to setting up a policy for our development team. First, go to the search bar at the top of the AWS console and type in IAM. Click on Policies, and then choose
Create Policy. Switch to the JSON tab, remove the default policy that appears, and paste the one I'm using here. But before we continue, I want to be very clear. This policy is not secure. It has some serious flaws, and you should never use it in a production environment. I'm only showing you this version to demonstrate how lazy administrators sometimes configure permissions and how that can lead to critical security vulnerabilities. We'll properly secure this later when we work on our production setup. I'll walk you through every step of the way. So, what security issues would we face if this were used in production? First, it's overly permissive. The use of wildcards like action_action: and resource:_ means this policy gives full access to everything in the account. That's a huge risk if the credentials are ever compromised. Second, it opens the door to privilege escalation. Broad IAM permissions can allow a user to elevate their own privileges by attaching roles or modifying policies. Third, with permissions this broad, auditing becomes difficult. You lose visibility and control, especially in a large environment. Fourth, it allows for lateral movement. An attacker could easily move from service to service across different regions without any real restrictions, including. And finally, this setup completely violates the principle of least privilege, which is one of AWS's most critical security best practices. So how do we fix it for production? In production, we follow best practices. We apply the least privilege principle, granting only the exact permissions needed, nothing more. We restrict access to specific resources instead of using wildcards. We limit IAM actions, especially sensitive ones like pass role, and ensure they can only be performed on specific roles. We add conditions to our policies, for example, restricting actions to certain regions, IP ranges, or timeframes. We separate roles for different use cases like CodeBuild, CodePipeline, and deployments, giving each only what it needs. And finally, we enable CloudTrail and Guard Duty to monitor activity, detect anomalies, and alert us when something suspicious happens, like someone trying to create or attach new policies. And as you can see here, even AWS gives us a warning about the security flaws in this policy. If you choose to ignore that warning, you're basically walking into trouble. In a real-world environment, this kind of carelessness can lead to major security incidents, data breaches, or unauthorized access. So always take these warnings seriously. They're not just suggestions, they're there to protect your environment. And now click Next and give a policy name. You can verify by searching the given name. Now we created the policy, let's move to create a group. So we can create a specific group for development team. Go to User Groups, give it a name you like, and attach the policy that created by us. And click Create Group. Now we have a separate group for the development team with the specified policy. Now let's go ahead and create the IAM user. So why are we using an IAM user in the first place? Well, we should never use the root AWS account for day-to-day operational tasks. Doing so can open up serious security risks. Instead, it's best to use role-based or group-based access to manage permissions securely. Since we already created the development group, we're now going to create an IAM user for our dev team. This user will automatically inherit the permissions we defined in the group and the policy we created earlier. Now that the user has been created, go ahead and log in using the new IAM user credentials we just set up. Now that we're logged in as the IAM user TJ, let's move on. First, we're going to create an Amazon S3 bucket. For now, don't worry about any configurations. Just go ahead and create the bucket. We'll come back to it later when we set things up for deployment. Next, it's time to create our AWS CodePipeline. CodePipeline is Amazon's solution for continuous delivery. It helps automate the build, test, and deployment phases of your application. Search for CodePipeline in the AWS console and click Create Pipeline. Choose Build a Custom Pipeline and click Next. Give your pipeline a suitable name, select New Service Role, and click Next again. Now we'll configure the source. Select GitHub as your source provider, then click Connect to GitHub. Give your connection a name and hit Connect again. It will redirect you to GitHub to authorize the connection. Important, when prompted, select only the repository you plan to use. Do not authorize access to all your repositories. It's a better security practice. Once that's done, select your repository and the branch you want to connect, then click Next. Now let's create the CodeBuild project. Under Build Provider, select AWS CodeBuild, then click Create Project. Give your project a suitable name, anything meaningful to you. For the project configuration, choose the default settings. In the environment section, select On-Demand Compute. For the operating system, you can go with Amazon Linux or Ubuntu if you prefer. I'm using Amazon Linux for this demo. The runtime should be set to standard, and for the image, choose the latest Amazon Linux build image. Also, make sure the image version is set to the latest. You can leave the other settings as default for now. Now, here's the most important part, the build spec.
This is where CodeBuild looks for the commands to build your app. I've already created a build spec.yml file in the root directory of my project, and I've added the basic commands required to build the React app. Don't worry, I'll share a link where you can download this file as well. One thing to pay attention to is the base directory. This depends on your project setup. It could be dist or build. To confirm, check your package.json file. If you're using Vite, the output directory is usually dist. For Create React App, it would typically be build. Once the build spec file is in place, push your updated code to GitHub. Now come back to CodeBuild and click Next. You'll see that the build project has been created successfully. Click Next again and skip the test stage. We're not adding any test steps for now. For the deploy stage, select Amazon S3 as the deployment provider. You could use other services like ECS or CodeDeploy, but for this React static app, S3 is a perfect fit. Also, make sure to check the box that says extract file before deploy. This ensures that all your static assets are properly unpacked and deployed to your S3 bucket. Click Next. Review all the settings and finally click Create Pipeline. And that's it. Now we have a full CI/CD pipeline. Here's how it works. The pipeline pulls your source code from GitHub. It then builds the application using the CodeBuild project we just configured. Finally, it deploys the built static files directly into your S3 bucket. And as you can see, everything is showing green, which means our pipeline is running successfully with no issues.
Let's head over to our S3 bucket. And as you can see, all of our build assets are now available here.
Now it's time to make a few final adjustments. First, go to the Properties tab, scroll down and click Enable Static Website Hosting. Set both the index document and error document to index.html, then click Save. Next, we need to make the bucket publicly accessible so users can view the website. Go to the Permissions tab and disable Block Public Access by unchecking the relevant options. After that, we'll add a bucket policy to grant read permissions for everyone, just enough to load our static content. Click Save, then go back to your list of files, click on index.html, and copy the object URL. Remove the /index.html part from the URL and paste it into your browser. Boom! Our SaaS landing page is now live and fully accessible online. Now, here's the real value of this setup for your development team. Let's say I want to change the pricing value on the website to 89. As a developer, all I need to do is open my code editor, make the change in the code, and push the update to GitHub. That's it. No manual uploads, no extra steps. Once the code is pushed, our AWS pipeline automatically kicks in, pulling the new code, rebuilding the app, and redeploying it to S3. And as you can see, the updated price is now live on the site without us ever logging into the S3 console. So that's it for today. We've successfully built a CI/CD solution for a front-end team using AWS CodePipeline, CodeBuild, and S3. In the next video, like I promised, I'll show you how this IAM setup can be exploited, and more importantly, how we can fix those security flaws and harden our infrastructure. So stay tuned, stay secure, and if you found this video helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe to HackPy for more tutorials on ethical hacking and cloud infrastructure. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.